Okay, so I should be back. Let me know if you can hear me. I just had to pause for a bit, but now I'm here. And this is me starting dev for the day. I was doing some non-dev things. Oh yeah, Eco in chat, how is my volume level? Do I need to boost it? Because if I do, I probably need to open up voice meter. Let's see about this. Hi, it's Takeso. Hey guys, how's my volume? Is it okay? Is it okay volume? Because I'm being lazy. Oh yeah, there's no audio playing in Unity. I'm being lazy and not wearing headphones because they make my ears sweaty and whatever. Alright. Cool. So I've got a list of things I want to accomplish today. And there's no way I'm going to get through all of them. But the first thing... Ooh, I'll do something kind of nice and easy so I can feel kind of good about myself for getting it done. I use a trackball mouse because I have a bad RSI. Oh, you can't see it. Well, you take my word for it. It's trackball. One of them Logitech things. Do I have another one? I usually have a bunch. I misplaced it though. And people who were playing my test build were complaining that the mouse sensitivity was too high, but for me it was perfect. So I'm going to add that to options, and that'll be really easy, and then I'll feel real good about myself so I don't feel so bad when I fuck up at everything else I tried today. Let me open up another window here because I've got this one set up to perfectly capture Unity's game window being open. I can modify the size of this. Sorry guys, I'm not good at this whole streaming thing. Here's my display. Whoa, what am I? There we go. Cool. Okay. That should work, right? Well, anyway. So, let's see, I guess the first thing I'll do, well, it's either add the control to the GUI or add the thing to where I'm keeping all these, which is my game state class. How's this? I don't have... That's too fucking big. And I know you can hold down and scroll, but I don't have a scroll wheel. Yeah. No, I've streamed before. I'm being lazy. Okay. Game state. The GUI. I'll fucking say it. I can say it. How can you not have a scroll wheel? You don't run into programs. Oh, I run into those all the time. You better believe that I had a fucking hard time at Blender. You have no idea. It's... the struggle is real. Alright. I'm trying to remember. I don't like to use player prefs, but I do use them for like literal preferences. But for the actual game, I'm going to be using a serializable class to keep my stuff. And I often find this is the problem with streaming live dev is that I suddenly feel all self-conscious, like I'm going to forget how to do it and have to look it up and it'll look dumb. Get float. Get float. return a float? Yeah, it returns a float. Okay, so I set... Oh, wait, I'm going to return to that. I'm going to stick this. This is disorganized. Everybody's going to judge my bad code. Just put this here so I don't forget. I've been working on this for 3 months, and I'm proud of what I've gotten done in 3 months, but in some regards it's a bit of a mess. Just... What? Wait, did I... Oh, my brain not work. I didn't get to sleep until 5, and then I woke up at 9. I'm going on like no sleep. I tried, I couldn't do it. Maybe I'll sleep tonight. Okay. Oh yeah. So I don't know if other people do this like this, but when I've done this since Slime Fighter 2, which is my first game, where I have all of my prefs accessible from return variables, so that hey, it's Krillin, welcome. Is the text size not good? Because if it's hard to read, then I can grab a mouse with a scroll wheel and plug that in specifically for the purpose of making the text bigger. Wait, can I type a thing in here? I can type a thing. I think I can. So that should be readable on stream, right? Okay. Awesome. And, oh yeah. I should have this in the GUI when it's set, but I'll make a to-do in case I forget. I really do use the / to-do thing, and I Control F and find all my to-dos. I know that some of the JetBrains IDEs actually do that for you. They collect your to-dos and your comments, but that kind of freaks me out because every time you do a commit in a JetBrains thing, it's like, hey, you have to-dos left in here, and then I feel bad. Krillin says he doesn't miss writing. I like writing code. I like it until it pisses me off, but in general, like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's kind of soothing. Okay, so now we've got that set up. So now... Oh, jeez, you scared the shit out of me. I'm sorry, thank you. It's okay. I'm easily startled. I was focused on things. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm a roommate. I scared her on accident.
We're just all sorry. We're all sorry. Okay. Anyway. It was worse when I was streaming, what was I streaming? Undertale and Mihai. It was in the dark and I was on a genocide run and it was creepy. And Mihai snuck up on me and he started talking to me as Sans. And, how do I close? What are you talking about? Coffee's for closers, Takeso. I don't know what you're talking about, though. Okay, so... And just do that. Okay. And then where did I put it? Some of the stuff is adapted from the Unity standard asset stuff, but I copied it into my own project rather than leaving it in the standard assets folders because it's been changed considerably and I don't want to, I don't know, somehow forget and accidentally erase or overwrite it. Okay. Is this static? What is this? Start. This isn't a static thing. So is this, no, it's not a mono behavior. So let's see, how can I do this so that I know? I'm looking for a mono behavior because I want to subscribe to the event that I just made, but I want to make sure that I unsubscribe before that object is disposed of, because I don't know, for those of you who don't do that much, that causes terrible, terrible bugs. So yeah, I'm looking for a mono behavior so I can just add that to on start and on destroy. Please like and subscribe, says Krillin. Aha, this is where we're gonna put it. Wait, hold on. Does this have a static thing I can talk to? Yes, it does. Alright, so let's stick our yeah, I'll own that. You should have seen when I was playing Half-Life 2 with Will and Soup Super. Nobody was scaring me, and I was still. I'm easily scared. I'm a total wimp. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, and I guess I'm gonna assume that I want X and Y to be the same. That might not be true, but I'm gonna assume it's true for now and deal with it later. So X sensitivity, Y system. I know I can do the thing where I just put it all in one line, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. To me, this is easier to parse on the fly and I don't get confused. And it's more important that I don't get confused, that I write the perfect code because, hey! Because the compiler will make it so there's not a difference. Okay, so I've got that hooked up. Ah, but it's not hooked up. I'm not subscribed yet. I just made the method. And I'm going to put in this. Ooh, a face, the name, and voice. It's good. And I'll get rid of that later, comment it out. Just to do that when I add new code. Alright, so I need to get, aha, don't have a, oh, aha. Well, you know what? Yeah, there we go. All right. Do you not like that? Did I fuck that up? Oh. Oh, I know what. Sorry, I'm usually able to do things, but I didn't do it. I can't subscribe it because it's a method. Wait, oh, but I could just do... Sorry, I do this all the time and I just had a brain fart. I just need to add a... I just confused myself. I do this all the time. How did I fuck this up? What am I even doing? Wait, why can't I subscribe to the thing? Now I'm getting confused. Okay. Oh, probably because... Wait, hold on. And someone posted a dream game on Twitter, and that reminds me I need to do that. Make a dream long game thing. That sounds like a fun idea. I'm getting confused. Looking for something. Hold on. Just do it in the wrong order? Yeah, that's probably what I did. Okay, yeah, I was in the wrong. I got like 3 hours of sleep. I'm sorry. Okay, so what just happened is I tried to subscribe the event to the thing, but I tried to instead subscribe the thing to the thing. Okay, so do we have an on destroy in here? On destroy, we don't. So for those of you who are not super familiar with Unity, all these mono-behavior objects come with these built-in method types that get called automatically, what implicit calls. So you can add them. So one of them is on destroy, which gets called when the object is destroyed. Yeah, Unity's fun. I used to use XNA, and honestly, for all of Unity's faults, it just saves so much time compared with the alternative. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we're subscribed. And that should work because I can't think of a single time that I have a mouse look object that's not connected. Oh yeah, I hate it when people say you need to subscribe. Yeah, people think that it's sad. People think that this is easy. Oh well. What was I saying? Right, so we now have the thing that, okay. So we now have the capability to write the mouse sensitivity variable to the player preferences, which gets saved in the app data on the player's local computer, so far as I know. And we now have hooked up the event, but there's no way right now to interact with the value. So now that I've done that, let's go in here and hook that up. So I have this pause menu that gets instantiated on the scene. I don't keep it in the scenes. I think it's called, so I need to bring it up in here so I can mess with it. And some of the stuff I have hanging out in the scene and not loaded from resources just because I was messing with it so much, it was more convenient to leave it that way. I probably do a lot of things that are not super correct, but part of it is just because I'm still figuring out how I want everything to look. Alright. Oh, and go away, Valentine. He's like that fucking Cover Tom meme from back in the day. Alright, so... options menu. And this would be... what kind of option is this? This is not really an audio or a video option. I need a new... Well, I feel lazy, so let's just hook up this GUI thing. But I guess, how do I want to do this? Do I want to have it on a slider? That seems like the best thing, because there's no real reason why the player needs to know, like, the actual float value. But I actually don't know what it ought to be. So maybe I should just pull up the scene and try different values until I find like what the min and max ought to be. Yeah. Oh, RenPy. I think RenPy would give me conniptions, not because it's bad, but because I would get frustrated by not being able to do everything I wanted. I've never used it, but I use Python at work. Having a number lets people share settings. That's true. Well, anyway. I'm just going to stick it out here somewhere where it doesn't make sense just so I can have it hooked up. And then I can worry about prettifying it later. Honestly, I lose so much time on prettifying menus. It's pretty bad because it's like you can mess with it and it doesn't look good and there's no real end state. So I don't really want to toss this in. It's not audio options. Just throw it in here. I hate the sliders in Unity. I want to make my own eventually, but for the time being, this is more than good enough. Just gonna... where the fuck does this go? I'm gonna make something really hideous. Let's just copy this. Just get rid of that guy. Okay. I guess I call it like gameplay options. Naming things is important. It really is, because if you go around not renaming things, you're going to be in for a world of not fun. Get over here. I don't know how many of y'all are super familiar with Unity, but it doesn't come with TextMesh Pro. But you are a fool to not use it, because Unity's built-in text text objects, UI objects, are just not good enough. Don't cut it. All right, let's just get rid of this for now. Yeah. I mean, I rolled my own visual novel system for this game, although I'm kind of proud of what I got done. I feel like it's flexible but powerful enough to handle my needs, although I need to like refactor it because with a project like this, making a game completely different from other games I've made before, it involved a lot of just kind of feeling out what I wanted to do. Is this okay? That's considered selling said system. No. I maybe someday, but not anytime soon, because that just sounds like a lot of work. I don't know, like I'd have a responsibility to maintain it and stuff. Whatever, I'll worry about. I think it's in a. Oh, that's why it's in a layout group. That's why it's complaining. Well, layout groups, I could fall down a rabbit hole of fucking with that forever. So I'm just gonna let it be ugly for now. What is this? I was surprised that I could buy assets for use. Huh? From the Unity store? I assumed that by the fact that it was called a store that I could buy assets for use, but I don't. I'm not a scientist. Alright. Ah, okay. Oh, don't say you're dumb. Okay. Just cleaning up some things. Where's my pause menu thing? Just need to have a. Oh wait, no, this is not what I want. One thing I try to do is I try to separate the visual thing that's seen by the player away from the functionality on the back end as much as possible. When I was working on XNA games, my natural inclination was to create a bunch of interlocking systems that were all super tightly dependent on each other, but I found that in Unity it seems to work out better to have a lot of independent systems that don't fail when one is missing. And it's good to have something that works on the back end almost as if like you could port the game to non-Unity, not because you ever want to, but it separates a lot of your game's functionality from Unity's like built-in quirks. It makes it easier to debug. So that's one of the reasons why I have a bunch of scripts, is I'll have a script that governs the UI versus a script that governs the functionality. Anyway. Hence why the script that covers pause behavior in general is separate from the buttons and UI and stuff. Yeah, I could be actually kind of lazy and just throw this in. Fuck it. Alright, so it should work now, except, oh, but I don't have a way to get to gameplay options. Dang. And I need to figure out the good min and max value, but I'll do that in a moment. So the next thing is to figure out, okay, just making sure. I think this hide options submenu. What does that do? It's been a while since I messed with this. This is one of the first things I set up. And I know I've only been working on this game for 3 months, which is not a very long time, but a month is a long time for me. I have a day job. I forget things. This is also probably a better way to do. I'll probably eventually just keep these in a. Yeah, I started dev. I checked my repo. I started dev on this on New Year's, and I kind of did it sporadically. I started dev in earnest, like every day, regularly scheduled, around mid-February.
See ya.
See ya.
Probably won't be back till super late, but I'll actually see you tomorrow night for an extended period of time.
Awesome. Well, have a great night. I'll see ya.
You too.
Oh yeah, I'm on the 5th draft of the script now. There's been like two revisions since you looked at it, but I really appreciated everybody who looked at my script, because I could just talk about the game. I could ramble about the story forever, to be honest. But this is a dev stream, so I don't know. It's really encouraging when you're working on a project like this that you know is this game isn't huge in scope. I designed it knowing that I could do it by myself in a year or two. But a big project, it's easy to get discouraged when nobody knows about it. And that's the problem, you know, with your friends in real life is you can't sit them down and be like, let me tell you everything about my project, particularly since most of my friends are not STEM types, programmers and stuff. Yeah, well, I was trained in the minds of game jams. I only know how to game jam. I don't know how to do any other kind of game jam. That's not true. What was I doing? I was doing one thing that's fun about these menus that I made, so a lot of the game's assets, they're either one of three kinds, which I guess makes sense, is placeholders made by somebody I commissioned or made by me. But a fair amount of the stuff you see was made by me. So the menu isn't just a image that's flat. It's actually a tiling graphic, and the grid thing also tiles, so I can make it as big as I want and it doesn't scale up. And the color is not set. Those are being tinted programmatically. So, I couldn't afford to pay myself for dev, let me tell you. Dev is the most expensive thing. I could never afford to hire myself. Art is the cheapest part. Fortunately or unfortunately. I'll do that later. Okay, so that's in. So y'all may have seen on Twitter I have the visual novel looking characters that basically have cutouts, and I can change their colors at runtime, and those use to multiply shaders so the effect looks really cool. It doesn't wash them out. So something similar is there with the menus, although I haven't programmed that to do anything yet, but maybe I will. And then after this, I'll probably just do a test run of the game to see if I can make it through without it crashing, just for a change of pace. Because you guys have been watching me do a very mundane thing. Alright. Alright, so now we know how to get out of that, and now we need to get into that. Or maybe keep this. I've confused myself. Where's this hierarchy? Aha. You can go hang out here. I need to get a better UI for this game though. It's the kind of thing where I know I could make it myself in Illustrator, but I might commission it just because I work a day job and I'm like exhausted. That's what I've come to realize is in some cases it's like if I commission someone, it's not even because I couldn't do it. It's just for my life and to not be suffering, it'd be better if I just outsourced. You know what I could probably do is have one method and then pass in a string, but I'm not doing that now. Maybe I'll do that later. That'd be the smarter thing to do. Because this is dumb and somebody's going to make fun of me for it. Oh well. I mean, I could just get started now. Whatever. Thanks, Krillin. It's a font called VCR Mono. Should be easy to find if you want to go Googling for it. Yeah, I've probably spent a few thousand on this game already, and I know that I'm lucky to be in a position in my life where I can afford to do that. I mean, that's not chump change to me, but it's also not impossible. It's basically like I often spend like upwards of $5,000 a year on like a big international vacation, but I didn't go on vacation last year, so I mean, spend my vacation money on a video game. Really, it's a better. I'm having more fun. Hope you guys are having fun. Although, you can make a great game without spending money. Don't get me wrong. Slime Fighter 2, I spent a bit over $1,000 on voiceover, but that game is still fun. It's still fun without the voiceover. And outside of that, I paid $80 for the logo, which is by Noyemi. However, I didn't pay anything else. So you could have that game minus voiceover, like on a shoestring. You don't need money to make a good game. Where did the money go for this game? It went to voice acting, of course, and commissioning the 3D models and the art done by Louise. And the models were not too bad. It was, so far I've paid $160 per, which is market rate. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Dogpit Jams, Krillin, because I always love the games you make. Well, you got 10 days instead of a week, so it's better than what everybody had for Games vs. Nazis. Okay. So, if all went well, this now works. Now, I just need, what would be a good place to test this? Yeah, that should do it. Oh, and I should, yeah. I need to stop doing this. I need to instantiate these so that I've caused myself grief before by not having these active when the game starts, and then I start it and I start getting errors, and I go, what, why, and it's like, oh no, the game the object that it's trying to access, you know, I made it inactive. Oh, hey. Okay, that wasn't. Oh, I know. Hold on, I'm gonna fix that real quick. And once again, I could probably put in a script to make sure that that always instantiates correctly, but I'll do that later. Okay. Now go away. I'll save this just to be sure. That was a fun thing, learning Unity for the first time, that you have to save project for stuff that's not in the scene. Okay. Alright. Oh, and I don't want to maximize on play because I want to look at this. Oh, wait, sorry. There we go. Wait a minute, did it start with this on again? Hold on. Oh yeah, it's been a fun journey learning about shaders. I first cut my teeth on that on Slime Fighter 2. And after that, it was such a pain in the ass. I promised myself I would never do a shader-heavy game again, but it looks like I'm not very good at keeping promises. Okay. Alright, so my sensitivity is 25. So let's just go into open area and see if this works. Oh, yeah. So let's see, I'm testing this out. To me, this is ideal for a trackball, but some people might think it's, right, so, okay. Uh-oh. Got an exception. Let's see what's up. Oh, I didn't, oh, that was dumb. That was a dumb mistake. I forgot to reference the slider. Yeah, well, although it has its sensitivity slider. Oh, I should rename this to not be confused. There we go. I think part of it is I love games like Oxenfree and Firewatch. I love a narrative-heavy game. I love narrative, but as I was playing visual novels, I found that I hated almost all of them. I really did. And so as I set out to make this visual novel, I was filled with a sense of dread and paranoia, because it's like, am I going to make a game that I myself would not enjoy playing? Which I've done before, like Delenda Airlines. That was not intentional, though. I did not intend to make that game a game I didn't want to play. So I thought, well, so if I'm going to make this narrative-heavy game, I need to make it like games that I enjoyed playing, like Oxenfree or Firewatch. So that kind of got me on the road of, well, apart from the great narrative, what sets those games apart? It's being able to walk and talk at the same time, which I think is important. I mean, I have literal ADHD, and you may notice that I'm at a standing desk right now, not sitting down. Being able to fuss with things while I'm talking is very helpful to me, so that's a problem I have with visual novels, is I'm just not doing anything and just listening when I would rather do things. And then those games stand out for being very visually pleasing to look at. I was thinking about that indie game where the water tastes like wine, which I had heard about, and it was very critically acclaimed, and it ended up only selling 4,000 units in its first month, and it was a big shock. I had heard about that game, so it got the message out, but I didn't buy it because it looked ugly. The art is very good. It's very well executed. It just looks ugly. So I don't want to play a game like that. So I want to make a game. I want to make a game that I would play, and I don't want to play an ugly game. Hence the shader obsession. Because then it's like, you don't want the game to. If you're going Unity 3D, this is my first 3D game. You don't want it to look like, your standard asset flip Unity 3D game. So, you gotta make it look different. All right. Well, I'm not. So it's firing off the event as desired. However, I'm not seeing any change. Oh, whoa. What is it? No, I'm not. It ain't doing anything. So I would expect to see this value change in the editor, but it's not. So let's see here. So we are in mouse look. So what gives? Well, I have ideas about what to do about this. First of all, I'm thinking, okay, so this should be, we're getting passed in as we wanted, and this float should be being set. Unless there's more than one instance of this mouse look object, and maybe I'm changing it in the other one? No, it's not called that. I know for a fact that there's something weird going on with mouse look thing with the editor thing from the Unity standard assets. It's a thing of, I should look it up, because mouse look shows up here, and then it also shows up on the camera, and as far as I know, it repeats this. Wait, I know it showed up somewhere else. Yeah, it's showing a different value. Ah, there it is. There it is. So we have two different instances of mouse look. That's a problem. And I'm not really sure why. It's some sort of Unity weirdness. I'll show you in a moment. So, two different mouse look objects. Because it's not... Yeah, the game is scary news. I did sound design. I could talk about that forever. You know, when you... I mean, I'm just doing everything. I have no time. The sounds, they all come from various years of the GDC sound bundle. So, that's a cool thing. Alright. Because if I look at... Okay. Let's just see if this even, like... Alright. Changes my perception of the mouse sense. No. How about now? No. So that's clearly not the right one. So I don't want to do it that way. I'm just kind of baffled about what... Anyway, so I need to get into the one attached to the rigid body first person controller. I know how I'm going to do that. I mean, since it's attached to the rigid body first person controller. Right? No, it's not. It's referenced. It's some sort of weird... why? I reckon the 2015 one is the best. Gives you a bunch of sound. I need to look at that one. I might have had it, but I think it's on my other hard drive. Okay. So, the thing about this mouse look class is I didn't want it to be in this look ahead class that I have for cutscenes, but it shows up in the editor there anyway, and I don't actually know why. Public mouse look. Why am I even... What is this even doing here? You know, that's a thing that I should not have. Okay. Well, I'll deal with that in a bit. I know what the problem here is then. Go away. So instead, we'll go back to rigid body first person controller. Do we have a mouse looking here? Well, this is... Okay. Oh, so I do have a mouse look. So why don't I just make this not this? Well, I mean, that should work. Okay. Okay. This is supposed to be the easy thing that I get done really quickly. All right, you can see in the inspector that changing the value. The only thing I need to remember to do is, I'm going to make a notepad++, that the slider on instantiation should change its value to be what the value stored in game state is. so let's see if this actually, I'm gonna go in a place where I can move around and see if this actually does anything. It should. Okay, well, let's like wildly increase the sensitivity. Yeah, it seems, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it works. And let's super decrease it. Yeah, okay, all right. Got this. So let me think. Good min and max. I mean, I guess a min would be like 0. I don't know why somebody would do that, but I mean, they could, you know, if you just want to strafe, I guess that's a valid lifestyle choice. Well, no, because then you can't turn. But anyway. Oh, it's a good, like, ceiling for that. Maybe, because I mean, to me, I feel like around 2.5 sits comfortably for my mouse. Supposedly, or my trackball. And people found that a bit too much, so definitely no more than 0.5. There's, since I'm using the Unity rigid body first-person controller, there's like sprint functionality that I could use, but I'm just choosing not to. Because with any kind of 3D game, I mean, this is my first 3D game that I'm trying to build to completion, but I've made like 3D prototypes before. It's like ridiculously easy for the character to get stuck on things and never ever move again. So like sprint and jump just greatly increase the odds of that happening. Alright, so I'll just change the options to not permit a value greater than 0.4, let's say. That seemed about good. Group. Alright, max value is, oh no, not whole numbers, please. There we go. Okay. Let's apply that. Oh yeah, Bonerman, he does the silly Twitter games. That's how you probably know him. Okay. So the next thing is yep. That's okay. Aha! Well, this will make all my dreams come true. Ta-da! Alright, let's fire that. Try it out. Okay. Oh, now I get stuck in here. Alright. Uh-oh. Wait a dang minute. Well, that didn't... It didn't... I mean, the min-max is correct, but it didn't set as I desired. Right. And yet I know the volume ones work, and I'm doing the exact same thing. I don't know. Come on. It's super useful for me because this game is all about cool ambiances, but I've been layering stuff too. I should show you guys my Fmod project at some point. Why is this not? Slider value changed. Let's just try this, because maybe it has to do with the order of execution of scripts, because Unity, all these implicit calls sometimes I don't know, something might get instantiated before another thing and cause weird behaviors. So that's all. Okay. It works. It works, guys. Did you see that? You see that? Hey, hey, it's set at the default, which I wanted it to. So let's just make sure it writes. So what I'll do is I'll change the slider value, and then I'll stop, and then I'll start the game. And if it really works, it'll be at this value. It'll be at 0.124 rather than 0.25, which is the default. It didn't work. Shoot. Okay. I mean, it works in the game. I mean, this is not the end of the world because it at least works in the game for the session. But it's not getting it from player prefs when that's loading. So it's not saving, possibly. Sensitivity. Maybe I'm spelling it differently. Sensitivity. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. So I got this going on here. Set float. Yeah, get float. I don't know why it isn't working. Set my floats, I'm getting my floats, I'm saving my floats. Player prefs. When this is getting called. Because maybe like the slider is loading before the player prefs, and then it's just overriding the thing. It's happening on awake, so that should be before this happens. This is in start. But what if I took this out of here, since I am setting it when I open the actual individual menu? So let's try that. If that doesn't work, I'm going to do something else because I'm bored of this now. Like maybe I'll try to do a run through of the entire game. I found a lot of bugs last time I did that, but it'll work better this time. Okay. Hey, check it out. 0.124. It worked. All right. Cool. I feel good about that. I do. It's good things. It's good things happening here. All right. I know this. I see why these. Okay. So. Oh wow, yeah, I've just been streaming for exactly an hour straight, and that's how long it took me to do this thing, which was supposed to be easy. But thanks for bearing with me, folks. So I'll go ahead and check that in. I can adjust mouse look sensitivity via options menu. Bam. So this is a one dev project. However, I think that version control is incredibly important because one, if my computer gets annihilated, the game still lives. But two, yeah, that's what Valentine says. We need to get Matt on stream one of these days, and he can just make fun of me as Valentine. It'd be perfect. What was I saying? I forget. I got 3 hours of sleep last night. Oh yeah, we're gonna. Oh, version control. You should use it. Everybody should use it. One, it keeps remote backup of your game. Very important. But two, it lets me make changes to my game without fear. And what I mean by that is, if I want to do a massive refactor, as long as I comment my check-ins very well, I'm not afraid to do that because I know I can always revert back to a version that worked. And that's really important, especially when in this stage of the project where I'm doing a lot of prototyping and just feeling out the systems I ultimately want. You don't want to keep a bunch of like unused, I mean, I'm doing this, but I shouldn't, and I'm doing it less than I would have if I wasn't using version control. A bunch of unused stuff that you are just keeping because you feel like you might need it later, because that causes all kinds of problems, makes you very confused. And since I have a day job and I know that things life can distract me from this game, I'm trying to comment my code pretty well because I know if I like stopped working on this for 2 weeks, I'd come back and forget what the fuck was going on. In fact, some systems it's already happened. Like I was working on this hub area before I started working on the puzzles, and I haven't touched it in like a month, and I fired it up again, and I was like, I have no idea why this does anything. Especially because the way the player works now is very different now that there's a 3D model tying in all the animations and the sounds and stuff. But let's, I didn't want to save this with the overrides. Let's just fire up this game and see what happens. Because when I was playing it the other night, it crashed multiple times. But I think I fixed the crashes. So let's just take it from the top. And as I'm playing, there's going to be some audio from the game. Let me know if that's overpowering my narration or anything of that sort. It's just for everyone's viewing pleasure. That's good enough. I could make a new OBS screen, but I feel lazy. And if I maximize and play, it's not going to be sized right, so whatever. Oh yeah, another new little addition. I added buttons here. I think. Oh, apparently I didn't. JK. I get a little microphone feedback, whatever, I don't care.
I'm not going to let it end this way.
Eventually this will have voiceover.
It was
Also,
nothing.
This... Oh, you'll find out, Eco, you'll find out.
Comrade, you swore an oath.
This is an Incompetech track.
Even if it
Incompetech is
means
great.
putting our
What was
lives
it?
on the
I
line.
forgot his first name, McLeod. Oh yeah, so I was talking about the customizable menu dealios. This is the same as the kind of menus things you were seeing before. Yeah, isn't that funny? I thought it was funny. She'll be coming around the map. Yeah, okay. Choices.
Thrill.
Oh,
It's all.
Tiana Camacho,
for the
who's the voice
fatherland.
of Valentina. She was one of my.
I almost sounded like I meant it that time.
She was one of the people who read the
Now,
earlier
If
versions
you
of the
please
script,
see
and
to
she gave
my
me a lot of great
lovely
feedback.
little jet plane. I have to clean up for
So
the
when
staff
I
meeting later.
did the auditions, I didn't look at the names of the people who submitted it. Like I renamed the audio files and I indexed them, and because I just wanted to pick the best performance and want to be swayed by seeing somebody who was like famous or my friend or whatever. And she was just super the best for the role, possibly because she knew the role already, but regardless, I love her portrayal of Valentina. It's super fucking good. Tiana's also great because she did a lot of playtesting for Slam Fighter 2, even though she wasn't in it. Like, there was no actual game to herself. So she's a cool, swell person.
Does the quartermaster know?
I totally rearranged
I'll
a lot of
deal with
things, though.
this.
I'm not trying to be like Doki Doki Lit Club and pretend like a
yeah.
bait and switch that it's not a
Staff
real
Sergeant,
visual novel, but I want the player to be kind of wondering, like, what the fuck,
Let's
why are
have a
we
little
even,
chat in private.
why are we doing it this
Yes,
way?
sir.
You know why we're here.
Yes, sir.
I need to async load this scene, the load time's too slow. Too slow.
For the Forerunners, it's always difficult. They tread the unknown paths. These paths are not straight. They have sharp turns, surprises,
Looks like Windows 95 screensaver, huh?
Anyone who takes the pathway into orbit never wants to leave it. And no matter what difficulties or obstacles there are, they are never strong enough to deflect such an individual from their chosen path. While their heart beats in their chest, a cosmonaut will always continue to challenge the universe.
So you don't actually have to go anywhere in that segment. I just make you walk around until the monologue ends. But I mean, the player doesn't know that, so because it's supposed to be like they're supposed to be confused and be like, what the fuck? Also showing off the cool nodes. They have 3D sounds on them. Play things, vaporwave sounds when you get close to them. All right. Oh, also, how is my voice next to the game audio? Is the game audio overpowering it or vice versa? Alright, see ya.
You will not rest until my jet shines. And you'll use a toothbrush to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yana's on toothbrush duty.
This character, the art, where's the option let her beat the PC up? Oh, I'm sure we'll find a way. Actually, the game audio is really loud, and I don't know if that's because you raised the volume or the game itself is that loud. No, it's actually very quiet to me, so I'll lower it in the stream. Anyway, let me know if that's better. It's a problem with Twitch latency, as I have to wait for an answer. This art, Oksana, is done by me, but the other character, Yana, is done by an artist named Luis Ferraresi, I know on Twitter, and I commissioned them for some art. Their art style is noticeably different from mine, but I felt like it's close-ish enough that it's not super distracting that it's different. Furthermore, if it was, I feel like I could trace it, put it in my line art style, because it's the line art that's mainly different. But I colored it because on the characters that Luis did, it's the same kind of cutouts that I'm doing for this character, which some of you may have seen on Twitter. I think, no, that's not what controls it. So I can, mess with the colors programmatically. Anyway, this music is not going to be in the final game. It's placeholder. It's Night Call by Kavinsky. I need to get in touch with my music producer about the tracks for this game, but he's been very busy. So I'm just kind of using this for now, but the main point is to contrast the really stupid, happy visual novel coming around the mountain. I love communism!
Why shouldn't I be? When I get to serve glorious people of Soviet Union.
I picked the take where Tiana's voice cracked a bit while she was saying that because I thought that was funny. Also, yeah, Eco, how's the audio of the game compared with my narration?
My hourly opportunity to throw up in my mouth a little has arrived.
Work faster, idiots. You'll have this cleaned up by nightfall, or
So this is
nobody's
supposed to
getting
be like,
leave for the rest of the year.
Aren't you glad you not her deputy?
With Gvakaria, what I thought. Okay, so this is supposed to. Oh, it was supposed to be like a visual novels where you kind of like shift the camera view, and it's supposed to indicate this character is like some yards away yelling at other people. I haven't put that in. No, most things are not put in yet. This is all placeholders.
And that's what you were doing out here, traveling through time.
Yeah, glitches.
Well, I'm just out here because I don't like parties.
Just keep that background. I wrote most of the shaders. I didn't write the scanline shader in the sense of I did pick it up somewhere else, but it's like 4 lines of code. Yeah, oh, that's funny about no accent is,
You want to know the 3 rules of leadership, Oksana?
I originally wasn't sure if I was going to have the main character have an accent or not, because I knew that both actors had to be able to pull it off, because, or for the main character, Valentine and Valentina, they both had to be able to pull it off because it'd be stupid if one could and the other couldn't. So I knew Tiana could because she's very good at accents. So Matt, I wasn't sure about, but I had his session before hers, so I just could have had him double record a lot of the lines, except for that bit, we ran out of time because, they get paid by the hour. So I was like, I'm just gonna cut it short here because I didn't want to like bleed over into another hour and owe him another $150 for like 10 minutes of time. So that segment got recorded American accent, and then I thought about it and I was like, no, I think we can go all in. Like, we can have everybody have an accent in this game. So I have all of the Act 1 stuff for Valentine and the menu stuff I have also with an American accent, but I find, even regardless of whatever the game's context, I think accented Valentine, especially Valentine Prime, sounds so much better and so much more sinister and fun. So I need to redo that. But I'm keeping this, I'm going to keep this as an American accented one, I think, just because it's so what the fuck that... Sure, I'll just keep it.
Number 1.
It's timelines,
Eat
man.
lunch with the company. Rule number 2. Don't make threats. Rule number 3. Never promise anyone
I'm gonna get some
anything.
Slavic music though, because the whole point of them having accents, because they're supposedly speaking Russian, so it's like, why do they have accents? It's less, it's less about realism in a literal sense, and more about I need to communicate certain ideas and motifs to the player in a very quick way. So the accents is a very, very fast way to establish, like, these are people in a different place and time. And it puts a separation between the characters and the audience to have that kind of accent, and I'm doing that on purpose.
You promise? Comrade, the look on your face.
This game, the themes and the story deal a lot with like narrative and identity, so it makes sense. It'll make sense.
Well, anyway, I'll see you later.
That was an async load, I think. There's another
Oh
bit.
boy, I wonder what tonight's film is gonna be about.
This is all done in
Rules
from a
of
tile map.
abortion,
I like the way it looks.
speeches of
It's kind of, it needs to look better. It looks very barren and not good, but it could, I think I got started on a good thing there.
Basically, your eyes and nervous system are fine.
Then when this happens, why can't I see anything?
Not again.
So I did a clever thing there.
I'm not coming
I
down with
started an
something, am I?
asynchronous load of the next level
Lightheaded, Lieutenant?
at the end of the glitch segment, which causes a hitch in the controls. But since it happens at the exact same time as the fake glitch in the game, the player's probably just going to think that it's intentional.
In my home country, we call that a joke.
Real comedians over in Georgia.
Well, so far no crashes, which is a good sign.
In my home country, we have a saying for people like you. Boshelna Fig. I hate her.
That was another
I've been
era
trying
that
to
I'm
get her
leaning into.
transferred to some
Visa Romano
areas
does not
in
have
the middle of
Cyrillic.
nowhere in Kazakhstan,
But you know, I'm just going to roll with it.
Met this guy, Major Yuri Kozlov
Well, she is in
at
fact saying go
Merkel
fuck
about a
yourself
year
in
ago.
Russian, so.
Heads up some base for experimental aircraft in Kazakhstan or something. He He was telling me how they're always short of test pilots because the ones they get tend to not last long. So I said it sounded like a
Oh.
nice post for
Well, there's a
promising
bug.
flight lieutenant like Vakari. I know.
Whoops.
Sorry.
It's
Oksana.
you know it's an
But I
obscure bug though because I hit
can't
enter it
control
right
you.
at the line transition.
Vakari is an idiot.
I need to fix that though.
But I see how you strain against the
Because
leaves
you can
sometimes.
mash enter through all the text. So now in the video I posted online, there's a conversation with Major Glushko here, but it's actually optional. My hope for the visual novel-ish part of this game is after this opening bit with the tutorial, you can experience segments out of order as long as you solve the puzzle for them first. So you can just kind of like hop around and see things in whatever order you want, and to create a narrative that kind of like doesn't fall apart if you experience parts of it out of order. I was inspired by this Argentinian novel I read called Hopscotch by Julio Cortázar, and I'll have to post a link to the Wikipedia page later, but it's a very interesting book. It's a book written that you can kind of read the chapters in any order. I'm going to skip that for now. I'll be able to come back to it, because I want to get to testing the puzzles. Let me see some weird things. Whoa. Got all up in his grill. I didn't mean to do that.
Loco.
I predict that you are very confused right now.
And
That's an understatement.
his mouth still does
This
weird
is
things with the lip sync.
Oh, you noticed.
I haven't done
Somewhere
3D
outside
lip
of
sync
time.
before this project. I've done
Every
2D lip
memory
sync,
of
but this
everything
is
that
a
has
totally
ever
different thing.
happened passes through here.
I
And this
got
is a
slightly
dream,
okay at
right?
Blender. You get better at Blender.
I wish. Reality follows different rules here.
Well,
Did I get-
yeah, that.
You came here on purpose. You probably don't.
I'm gonna skip through all of his dialogue though, because I'm kind of
Can't
impatient when
take
I get to the
memories
puzzles.
out of it. But no,
Yep. I have a debug
no, it's
key.
crazy.
Yeah, he's
What?
chewing donuts because he
I'm
doesn't have any
exactly who
teeth.
You think
What?
only
A deep?
there
I have a
isn't-
debug key that closes his mouth so that it doesn't creep me out when it's left hanging open when I skip through dialogue.
You didn't want just any. Now the door will.
Let's get.
Okay, so now we're testing the puzzle bits. I refactored my tile map system
That's the capacitor.
last
you
week,
need to
and
power
that
up.
caused so many
You
bugs.
need to send a signal to
Good
it
God.
with that transistor. A transistor receives a signal
I think
through
the segment
collector
here is really
and
funny,
sends it through the emitter. But you forgot about that.
because it
Stuff
kind of
comes
is a
in
totally different
and
game
stuff comes out.
presentation. If we're kind of like,
Got it.
it's not a visual novel, it's not a
Collector
realistic third
only
person,
accepts signals
first
of the
person. Now we're
type
just
shown
given like
here.
cartoons of these
The emitter
characters
only sends
and
signals of the
diagrams
type shown here.
arrows and stuff.
This one takes a different kind of signal than it sends. Oh, I get it.
I need to get
A
better at writing
transistor
tutorials. I
can
have a
turn
feeling nobody's
one
gonna
kind of
understand this.
signal into something else. So why isn't it sending a signal to the capacitor right now?
There isn't any
A
signal.
3D
for
game
it to
means camera
transmit.
angles.
That's a problem.
I need a new camera angle.
Not for you. Everything you can see and touch is formed from the memory of time. You can sense the individual fragments that reality is made of. The disassembled memory of time. So all you need to do is change history's memory of that transistor so that it's fully powered. Pretty easy. To change a memory, you have to know its location in time. The memory address.
It's a bit on the nose, yeah.
Lucky for you, I managed to save the memory address for the signal charge of this transistor. You're welcome, by the way. Have a look. Now that you know where it is, change the value of the charge so that the transistor is fully powered.
How much is that?
Good question. I don't know. Just change it to be something really big.
So I didn't skip through that because I was hoping hoping you guys would catch what's going on here. So we have this menu. Values are represented by shapes. More sides equals bigger value. Click the shape to see what you can swap it with. All right. You following? You following? Because I have a feeling that I'm going to lose people here. So let's see. We got a circle and a dot and lines and a triangle and a square and a pentagon. So let's see. Ooh, have you yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be pretty easy to do, to be honest. I guess just to make it obvious that it's a cutscene. Okay.
Well, that wasn't enough. Try a value bigger than that.
So originally this actually had numbers in it. So like I was actually surfacing the values of Okay, so the way this whole thing works is I am in fact surfacing the real values of these things via this menu. Although that's not the real memory address, that's made up. This bit here. These numbers don't actually matter. I need to take them out because people get confused, but I need to give these things, people a way to give these things a unique name. I originally had the actual values as floats, but that looks scary, so now I basically only have 6 different values to work with, which is basically going up from 0 to 50. Well, I just spoiled it. That's what these are. That's what they represent. They don't always represent that, though. And so I was wondering, like, can I still make challenging puzzles when there's only, you know, essentially 6 different values? But I think I did, and then I ended up, like, reinventing hexadecimal, except worse, because it's with 6. It's base 6 instead of base 16. But that's for the more complicated puzzles where eventually you need to get to a certain value. Like, you're at one point, there's a puzzle, not in this run, I'm designing it, though, where you have to form a nonagon. And it's like, how do you get to a nonagon if you go only get up to a pentagon? It's a very good question. Guess you'll find out. Oh, hi. Sexadecimal.
I can't believe that really worked.
Also, the capacitors now look like the input nodes or the normal transistor nodes. I need to change that to make them look different. It's hard when it's 3D, you know, you just want to use the assets you already have.
Look
With
at the
2D, I just draw
symbol
myself a
above
new
the
one.
transistor. It isn't the same symbol as the one on the capacitor.
Catching this, guys?
You'll need to switch the transistor signal type to be the same type of signal that powers the capacitor.
What's the memory address for this one?
About that, the location where a memory is stored changes all the time. Even if I told you what it was for me right now, it won't work by the time you see this message. But if you try to sense the memories,
Oh, I totally skipped some things that are semi-relevant.
Be able to find it.
In the opening bit that I kind of powered through,
The last one.
That was a static object.
this guy
It
mentioned
never changes.
he's not a real person, he's a message, or he's a recording of a real person, and that he thinks that he's about to die. But he doesn't explain why he thinks he's about to die. So as I still need to work on the animations for some of this, but I kind of want, as the player goes through this tutorial, he kind of progressively looks more not good. So sort of the first thing of, he doesn't look super good. Oh, hi. Because the idea is, yeah, I don't know. It's like, he's a chatbot, okay? He's basically a chatbot.
I can rewrite these memories, right? So I
I want to get away from this UI system. I need to find a different
You don't have time for that. Look for a memory with
Means
a
of
value
searching.
that matches the type of signal emitted by the transistor.
This still is very UI heavy. I think it's going to
So it
scare
must be
people.
this one here.
Oop, this is wrong. I originally decided to make it really easy for the player, and I had the correct one right at the top. I should probably just do that again. But I didn't. Alright, you guys follow that? You follow that? Oh, I'm supposed to have a text that says victory conditions met. I don't know why it's not showing up. Okay.
This is a switch. It changes the signal
Oh, wait, why were the audio options open? What the fuck? I'll fix that later.
type of anything connected to it.
Oops, I need to change the camera.
So I can use it to make a direct path for the signal to power up the capacitor.
Let me know if you want me to explain anything. Again.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Check this out.
No matter how many times I activate the switch, this transistor isn't changing to the type of signal I want. Time to change the memory again, right?
This time, only look for memories that have the same value as the transistor. Okay?
I love the way the actor adds the okay at the end. It's perfect. I felt like in the first session he didn't really know what the fuck I was going for. I felt really self-conscious about
That's
it.
still way
Like,
too much.
this is me projecting, like maybe he thought it was a dumb project, but
Again.
on the next recording session, he got super into it. I really love the work he did for the tutorial, which was recorded in the second session. Alright. So let's look for... Alright. So we still got a bunch.
So it's a triangle now. It still isn't what I need.
Scan for memories that have a triangle
Oops.
as their value.
I sequence
in the set
broke.
of
I'm
memories
sorry.
you've already detected.
I need this level doesn't take sequence breaking very well. I need to fix that. I already have a note for that. Okay. Ta-da! Easy peasy. Well, this problem is I'm concerned that nobody's going to understand these puzzles. They make sense to me, but that
Unless
doesn't...
you don't have any courage left to show me.
You'll regret this.
And now, an intermission.
Hey, Yakovlevna, come play with
I don't know if I really want to put this here. Maybe I'll put it elsewhere. Because I'm sort of... There's a sort of tension of...
Just one.
gameplay
Let
versus
me
story.
try it
Eventually what I want to do is have
Make
like
it a good one. It'll
these
be
characters
one
and scenes kind of, well,
tonight.
outside the tutorial,
better
'cause
enjoy
tutorial
the
Valentine's talking
carousing
to you.
when you can.
Kind of just like playing out in front of you without you interacting with them as you fuck around with the
Captain.
puzzles.
That's just a stepping stone. I'll be the next.
A lot of this
Sergei
also I was hooking up the
Ionescu before you
visual
know
novel
it.
stuff just to make sure I had transitions and voiceover as I wanted.
You need to
But
think
what I'll
farther
probably do for
than
this is
one
rather
move
than just
ahead.
jumping into it straight after this tutorial puzzle, have like the characters hanging out in the puzzle level, and if you approach them, that triggers a scene, kind of like the conversation with Major Glushko that I skipped earlier.
Just one more game and then I'll hit
Also, I
the
hope you're
sack.
noticing I keep having
More
Valentina say
vodka,
she's gonna go to bed, and
please.
she keeps not doing that. I thought that was funny.
You got me this time.
You can't win them all. Double or nothing?
You're on.
That was a lame sound effect. I've got better ones later.
How is it that you always come out ahead, even when you scratch all those shots?
Charmed life.
Yeah, go to bed.
One more round and then I'll really call it quits.
Let's just get. I want to get back to the puzzles, so
Привет.
blah blah blah.
You.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna have some cool animating things here, but I haven't finished them, and I skipped a thing here. So blah blah blah. Okay. Get back to the puzzles, please. Okay. All right. Blah blah. blah.
Hey, look.
See, this is why I don't like visual novels. I just get a mash enter. So I'll do something about that. It'll be good. I'll make it good. This is provisional. All right.
One more thing. If there's a memory address you want to use again, you can save it for later. You might want to do that for something you want to change multiple times.
Hint, hint. Okay. So I'm just going to beeline straight for the solution here because I'm just making sure this game don't crash. Oh, but yeah, so one thing I want to do is have that scene, but not separate there. But like, you've got this big room here that you're just allowed to fuck around in, but really the only... So, you know, the objective is to create a circuit that goes all the way to that capacitor that powers it, because these puzzles are based on DRAM. So we've got this generator, and I need to get a new model for it to make it obvious that this is an infinite power generator, but that it transmits a triangle signal. And this dealio accepts a triangle signal, but it only sends a square signal. And this thing only accepts a triangle signal, and it only sends a pentagon signal, so we need to change these things to make a complete circle circuit. That probably made no sense. But those are the only ones that matter, as you can see from the lines and stuff on the ground. So you've got to, I purposely added all this space here because I figured I want to, you know, there's no, given the nature of the game, there's not going to be any scenes where you just miss out on them forever. I want the player to be able to experience this out of order as if they were reading an actual novel. Well, you just flip back. But here, yeah, if you go back here, maybe you'll run into a scene that just kind of happens without you need to mash enter or anything like that. Unobtrusively, without a bunch of text at the bottom. Unless you have subtitles turned on. So anyway, let me solve this puzzle for you, make sure the game doesn't crash, because I had experienced crashes on the next puzzle level. Let me make this UI better. Yeah, one's clipping into the... That happened because I redid my tile map inspector and some of my data got fucked. So it's one of those. It's just fucking with things. That wasn't that. And that must be this one. Aha! And so this is the puzzle level that teaches you about freezing stuff, but you can, this one does allow sequence breaking. I anticipated people would play this twice and know that you can lock the value. Because what it does is it shows you, you know, you can change it to be what you want, but then something else could, you know, fuck with the value. So you can find, if you can find the value, you can freeze it. Alright. Oh. So we got that. Now we need to find the pentagon one and change its output to be a circle. I'm going to new search. And let's look for pentagons. Okay. So the next part is the fun part. Okay, it's a dot now. So when you do a new search here, you're searching inside of what you already have. So it's not gonna, it's only gonna grab the things that at least used to be pentagons. So it's gotta be that one. Let's change that. Ta-da! Does that make sense? Does that make sense to anybody?
I feel like I've done this one before.
That's what you get if you sequence break. Okay, so I got a crash here playing this the other night, but I think I fixed it. And I did test the fix, but you know, when you show things off in front of people, things always break again. So let's find out if the game crashes.
I guess it's too late now.
I'll reset the memory cell. On the next time round, pause time and I'll tell you the next step. You need to find a memory with the
Pause time.
value
I
of
love
the
when the
charge of
character's
the
abilities
transistor.
match up with what the player can do in the game. So you, the player, pause, and the player, the character also paused the game. I think it's fun. I think that's, you know. Okay.
Well, it looks maybe 3/4 full. So how much is that?
I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. Start by sensing all the memories here.
I don't need this.
Unpause time, then pause it again immediately.
You have a sound when I pause on pause time.
Within the memory addresses you already
So
have,
this is not very readable.
look for values that have gone down. Now that you know where it is, change the value of the charge so that the transistor is fully powered.
Ta-da! Now pause time. And now speed up time. Haha. Alright, no crash.
You should be able to get this one on your own, but let me know if you want me to explain anything again.
Okay.
Hey, so when am I going to figure out what you're so freaked out about?
You'll know everything.
Oh, well. There's some animation there, but it's optional. If you go look at him at that point, he gets kind of evil looking. Oh, there's a bug. Why aren't we proceeding to the next line? I didn't press anything. What the fuck? Well, at least we can observe him looking kind of creepy. Yeah, okay. Whoops. Oh, well. Okay. Well, fortunately, okay, so that's a problem. I could keep solving the room though, but now that I know the bug in here, I'm gonna use a cheat code and just go to the next room. This is the last puzzle that actually works too. It's not that the other ones are broken, it's that I haven't put them in yet. So we're almost at the end. Cheat codes. Yeah, we're almost at the end of all the content that I have. Ooh, that was a herky-jerk lame thing in the animation.
I'll be here.
I'm
I'll be here.
missing
I'll
animations
be
right
here.
here.
If you need any help.
I
I'll
had
be
some
here.
better
Help,
animations
help,
for
help.
the. He's Jacob's laddering. That's unintentional. His head's not supposed to be doing that, but. That when I was originally planning on leaning into
What?
having everything be 2D,
Okay,
but
but who knows you're scared? Now I'm gonna be scared.
You should be able to get this
anyway,
one on
he
your
needs
own.
better animations. This is
But
not
let me know if you want me to explain anything again.
Hmm? Why aren't we going to the next line? What the fuck? This didn't happen before. I think I've got a video log now of what's all not working.
Da?
Oh shit. No, he just thinks I'm talking to him.
I'll be here if you need
God
any
damn.
help.
This is a what? Fuck. Shit. That's not supposed to happen. This is actually a new bug. I was expecting to find old bugs. Well, shit.
What is it?
No, go.
I'll be here if you need any.
Okay. Well, let's just power on through. Oh, well, I expected to find bugs, so. And once again, needing animations.
This one is going to be a bit complicated, so listen carefully. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't. My time's up. No, just whatever you do, don't.
It isn't really important. So that's all I've got.
Don't try to connect. Don't.
Oh no, it's not like it made a difference, did it?
His mouth shape's not looking good.
But I wouldn't worry about that if I were you.
There's supposed to be an animation there. Oh well. And this actually theoretically this could be solved. I haven't tried to solve this one, but I think I actually can because I made it really easy. Yay, fourth wall break. Oh, and the text right before that was actually written by Matt because I wanted to get it in his own voice because I'm going to be doing some fun things with fourth wall breaking later that involve Valentine Prime will pretend to be Matt Curtis for the purpose of fucking with the player. It'll be fun. Anyway, we've seen all the content that's programmed in the game, so thanks for joining. I think I'm going to stop. I'm like tired. But we did a full playthrough and we found some bugs. And then did things. Appreciate it, y'all. I'll catch you later. Yeah.